Hey guys, NJ here, and we are looking today at another 130. You saw the last review I did of a 130, which was the UB. I've been sent another one to look at, this time by GearBest, and it's called the Reptile RX 130, although it's labelled on the GearBest website as GB 130, so I presume that's GearBest renaming it for their own purposes. And in terms of what's in the kit, it looks like we have the main frame here and the pod. And over on this side we've got a connector, some I presume horizontal standoffs, as there are only 3 of them, a PDB which looks like it has the right angle connection for the XT60 and room for a small BEC, which I think will be in there in some form, probably a 5-volt. And then if we look on the other side, just more hardware related to that build. So that's the first part. We do get some very nice Emax RS series 1306 4000 kV, and these are 3 to 4S ready. Pretty hairy kV. I imagine these will be pretty good little performers. I know there's kind of 2 kVs, I think there's a 3600 if I'm right, I think I might be wrong, and the 4000, so it'll be interesting to see how these perform. So you get 4 of those, 4 of these sort of generic props, which look like they're probably, you know, very similar to Dell, who are similar to someone else, who are similar to someone else. They're all copies of copies, aren't they? There we go. So there's our, that will go onto the PDB. Solder down on top of the PDB, and that is a 5 volt 3 amp output, 7 to 28 volt input, so that will be good whether we want to run 3 or 4S. Yeah, as expected, there's the SP Racing F3. If you do ever pick up one of these, please go give a couple of bucks to Dominic Clifton, bless him. And that is pretty much everything that you would expect. There is a case in here for it, but I very much doubt we'll be installing that. There probably won't be anywhere near the room. And then the various looms to wire that up, and pin headers. So yeah, nothing terribly exciting there. We do have 4 of these. So these are DYS, which are very good ESCs. DYS BL Heli 1-shot 125 10 amp. Now this is the only sticking point for me. See, I want to run, again going back to that UB 130 that I looked at. Remember, I ended up running these 4S 850 tattoo batteries. These are good cells and they cost me a pretty penny, so really I'd rather like to run this on a 4S setup. Unfortunately this is only rated to 3S and 10 amps, which is probably not going to cut it. So those will go into a Patreon giveaway, because I'm not going to use them on this build, nor will I need them, but someone who's building a 130 or smaller might like them, so that's what's going to happen to those. Instead I will be using a set of these. So these are, although they're stripped at the minute because I'm taking the capacitor off them to make them D-shot ready, these are DYS BL Heli S XS20As. So I'm going to D-shot these by removing the signal capacitor, and then I'm going to stick those 4 onto this quad instead, which should make things nice. We also have a couple of nice branded items, which is good. We get the Aomway clotheleaf 5.8 GHz antenna. These are good, solid, do the job. Although as soon as I got this one out and saw it was red, I figured that's actually RPSMA. It's a bit annoying. I mean, you know, nearly everything everything I have is SMA, not RPSMA, but so that's kind of limited my antenna options if I want to swap this out for ones I already have. But that is what they've decided to chuck in. Thankfully, the VTX they've chucked in as well is also in that configuration. So, you know, these 2 are matched, and I've no problem with this antenna at all. In terms of this, it doesn't appear to have a brand on it. Maybe if we just pop that out and have a quick look at it, there might be something on it. No, don't think there is. HLW, no idea. 25 milliwatts, 600 milliwatts switchable. I can't see a cable that you break like some of those are, where you have to actually break a little jumper to actually turn that from one to the other. So it looks like this will actually switch via this big button on the edge. and a little display there as well, so that's nice. That's reasonably good quality, right angle, which I presume they've done for purpose of how it's going to install in the quad. And nice to see silicone wire. That's always a plus for me. I hate plastic wires, they just melt and give you frustration. Silicone doesn't, and it's super flexible. And the other thing I love about silicone is it just twists up so nicely, so you can make it all nice and low noise. So yeah, those are good. Nice to see a couple of branded bits, one of which of course as well, which they include, very surprised, a proper Runcam Swift. This is a good 1177. So yeah, again, another nice thing. It kind of makes me wonder, they've got all the components of this right to be a really nice little kit, except the ESCs if you want to go 4S. Fine if you want to stay 3, but you know, I've got 4S. I want to run 4S. You know, why wouldn't I? But yeah, this is a proper Runcam Swift. And yeah, it'll probably only have a 2.8 lens on it, so I will swap that out because a few of you probably know that I run 2.1. So that will get a swap out, but nothing wrong with 2.8. And in the bag you've got a standard back as well, because you see the back here has got this second mounting point. It may be that the actual pod has a way to accommodate this. I don't know, we'll see when we build it up. But there's a back plate, mounting brackets, various options. Runcam are always great at stuff like this. And then you've got your control, and of course with Runcams, and this really is, things like this, very little things, but they make a big deal. First of all, again, nice silicone loom, and secondly, the other thing I love about Runcams is that you have the separation of the actual video signal, power and ground on one side, and then on a separate connector you have just the OSD plug. And I know in the new version of the Runcam Swift they do include a little extension, so you can have this extension poking out somewhere on the quad, so you can easily get to plugging into just the OSD with everything in and not have to pull everything apart. So you know, but it's good. Yeah, I do like what Runcam are doing these days. They do make nice stuff. So we got a decent Runcam Swift as well. So all in all, it looks like it should be a pretty decent little kit. I'm hoping it will work really nicely. The SPF3 is a really nice controller to work with, really solid performer. But the thing that I think will make a decent difference will be adding the DYS XS20s on D-Shot. I think that will also help make for a nice little performer. But we shall see. Let's get building and see what we end up with.